For the sake of being with Willow, I even turned against the system, choosing without hesitation to stay in this world. But who would have thought, just a second ago, my gentle, affectionate girlfriend, who clung to me sweetly, suddenly became a completely different person the next moment. She splashed a cup of water straight onto my face, humiliating me in front of everyone. She called me a disgusting simp, a foolish and overly self-confident man. She laughed with smug satisfaction. She said, "You gave up everything for me. You don't seriously think I'd fall in love with you because of that, do you?" However, I laughed too. I had gone through so much just to stay here. Did she really think I did it for a woman? Chapter 1. In the very last moment before the system detached from my body, it was still cursing me in bitter disappointment. I lowered my head guiltily and apologized. "I'm sorry, but I really can't live without Willow." The system snapped, furious that I refused to learn. "Have you thought this through? If you give up now, you'll never be able to resurrect in your original world again." I nodded again, my eyes filled with what looked like deep affection. For her, I'm willing. The next second, a wave of unbearable pain surged through my body. When all sensation finally faded, I knew for certain, the system had completely abandoned me. But the moment it left, I could barely hold back the smile tugging at my lips. Just then, the door suddenly opened. Willow walked in, holding a glass of water. She smiled gently. "Gio, have some honey water." I smiled back and reached out my hand. Almost at the same instant, Willow's gentle expression vanished. She suddenly flung the entire glass of water onto my face. She burst into laughter, shaking with delight. "Ha ha ha, George, you're finished." I said nothing. I simply wiped the water off my face calmly. Willow seemed surprised that I showed no reaction. She froze for a moment, then quickly grew smug again. "Now that the system's abandoned you, you're nothing but a useless pawn, right?" Chapter 2. Willow could barely wait to show off. She revealed that she had always been able to hear the conversations between me and the system. She knew that I had come to this world to save her, and then destroy her. So she had been acting along with me the entire time, doing everything she could to make me fall in love with her, to make me unwilling to hurt her, until in the end, I would even turn against the system just to protect her. The more she spoke, the more pleased with herself she became. In the end, she even excitedly took a photo of me and called me an idiot. She said, "Are all you guys just single-celled creatures? You don't seriously think I'd fall in love with you, right? Ha ha ha." I pinched the bridge of my nose, hiding the trace of mockery in my expression. Both the system and Willow believed that I loved her to the point of obsession, that I would rather give up my chance to be reborn in my original world than hurt her, but they would never know. I had never planned to go back in the first place. In my original world, I was just an overworked corporate slave with a parasitic family that only drained me dry. But in this world, I have everything I want, so why would I ever go back? Of course, I have no intention of telling Willow the truth right now. That would be far too boring. I simply nodded faintly and replied, "You win." Chapter 3. The next day, at the Liu family's recognition banquet, Pablo Liu publicly announced that the popular actress Willow Liu was his long-lost biological daughter. And right in front of countless reporters, Willow also revealed her relationship status. "Since we're here, I'd like to take this opportunity to share my personal life as well. I already have someone I love, and we're even planning to get married." For a moment, cheers and teasing roars nearly lifted the roof off the venue. Everyone knew that Willow had only made it this far because of my support and companionship. Without me, she wouldn't have become famous, let alone gone from an unwanted illegitimate daughter to being welcomed back into the wealthy Liu family. So naturally, everyone assumed the person Willow loved was me. But just as the atmosphere reached its peak, Willow suddenly followed the crowd's gaze toward me and let out a mocking laugh. "The person I love? How could it possibly be someone who lowers himself and has no dignity? A disgusting simp. My taste isn't that revolting." The entire hall fell silent. In the deathly stillness, a man stepped through the crowd, walking toward Willow one step at a time. He dropped to one knee, raised a ring, and said, "Willow, you always say you don't feel secure. Then let me swear in front of everyone, I will love only you for the rest of my life. Will you marry me?" Even though it had clearly been arranged beforehand, Willow's face still flushed slightly. She allowed Makoto to slip the ring onto her finger, and he gently lifted her hand to place a kiss on it. Whispers spread through the crowd. No one could understand how an obscure, bottom-tier nobody could defeat me and win Willow's heart. Only I knew. Makoto was the male protagonist of this world. For two protagonists to be drawn to each other was the most natural thing in the world. Chapter 4. Almost the instant the lights brightened again, reporters surged forward all at once. Makoto had remained silent the whole time, but when someone asked whether he had considered Mr. Wang's feelings, he stepped in front of Willow protectively and said, I know Mr. Wang has been deeply devoted to Willow, but this kind of self-gratifying sacrifice only causes trouble for others, so I hope Mr. Wang won't harass her again in the future. No matter how you heard it. The words sounded harsh. Everyone assumed I would fly into a rage, maybe even rush forward and start a fight, but I simply smiled faintly and said, "Sure, I can leave right now, as long as President Liu hands over the projects I've been handling." All this time, to convince the system, I had wholeheartedly played the role of a simp. My acting had been so good that even Willow herself believed it completely. Before Pablo could respond, Willow sneered first. "Are you trying to get my attention this way, so I'll realize I can't live without you?" She rolled her eyes carelessly, saying I was absolutely ridiculous. Hooking her arm around Pablo's, she continued, "The Liu family has more than enough resources. Why would we care about your pathetic little projects? And don't flatter yourself, those partnerships were interested because of me in the first place. It's not your place to take credit. And those team members of yours, don't think I don't know they've spoken badly about Makoto. You'd better take them all with you when you leave." I calmly listened to everything she said, then raised my phone toward a young female reporter in the front row. "Hey, beautiful, let's at each other. When you've got time, send me the video of what she just said." "Okay." The girl stared at me in shock, her hands trembling as she scanned my screen. Chapter 5. That very night, I received a new friend request. At first, I thought it was the young reporter, so I accepted it immediately. A voice message popped up almost right away. I tapped it open, only to unexpectedly hear Makoto's voice. "George, Willow said she doesn't want to see you anymore. How about this, you leave everything you have here. We'll throw it all out, and I'll give you 1 million as compensation." Before I could reply, another message came through, a video over 30 seconds long. In it, I watched as my belongings were thrown out one by one, from small daily items like my toothbrush and towel, to expensive luxury watches and custom-tailored suits. To be honest, I didn't want any of those things anymore anyway, but if I didn't take this chance to squeeze something out of them, then all these years of playing the simp would have been for nothing. So I deliberately replied in a tone of exaggerated surprise, 1 million, that's nowhere near enough. Those include suits and coats I had specially custom-made by designers, and luxury watches I could only get through connections. I know it might be hard for someone of your previous social class to understand, but even at half price, those things are worth at least 5 million. I don't know if that trick would work on anyone else, but it definitely worked on Makoto. Sure enough, 2 minutes later, I received a notification that 5 million had been deposited into my bank account. I immediately turned around and distributed bonuses to every member of my project team. They had already been holding back a lot of anger because of Willow's outrageous behavior. Now, they were so moved they were practically in tears, each one expressing loyalty to me, and that was exactly the effect I wanted. I knew every detail of this world's storyline, and I was fully aware of the enormous profits these projects would generate in the future. In the original plot, the Liu Group would rise to become the industry leader because of them. Meanwhile, Willow Liu would not only win the Best Actress award, but also successfully inherit the Liu family empire, becoming a highly sought-after woman with both fame and fortune. But now, it was time for someone else to take that seat. Chapter 6. With nothing left weighing on my mind, I finally had a good night's sleep. The next day happened to be a day off. I went to the mall next to my hotel, bought a pile of gifts, and drove straight home. The moment my parents saw me carrying bags upon bags out of the car, their faces were filled with suspicion. My mom went, "Oh no, here we go again, looks like the fox is back pretending to be friendly." I couldn't blame them for the sarcasm. To keep up the act before, I had done plenty of things that sided against my own family. I had eagerly poached our company's biggest clients and handed them over to the Liu family. When Willow showed interest in my mom's treasured jewelry collection, I immediately presented them to her with both hands. My dad's beloved landscape bonsai, which he had cared for over 10 years, just because Willow's father said it looked nice. I had someone deliver it straight into his company lobby. My parents had been furious to the point of nearly exploding. They simply couldn't understand why someone would give up being a perfectly good, rich second-generation heir just to become a simp for some minor internet celebrity. And now, history seemed to be repeating itself. My dad had even prepared quick-acting heart pills in advance. He frowned and said, "Go on, what do you want this time?" I broke up with Willow. "There's something I want to discuss with you," I spoke carefully. "I want to take over the company." My dad's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. My mom immediately started interrogating me, asking if this was another one of Willow's terrible ideas. She snapped irritably. "That shameless girl, first she wanted our resources, and now she's eyeing the entire company." Fortunately, I had already anticipated this situation. I quickly pulled out the video of Willow Liu and Makoto's engagement. I swore over and over again that I had truly come to my senses. "I'm not interested in all that love nonsense anymore," I said. "Right now, I just want to grow the company bigger and stronger." My dad stared at Willow's face on the screen, his furious gaze almost burning a hole through the phone. I had never heard him use so many insults in my life. After venting for a while, he waved his hand at me. That thing may be shameless, but you've lied to me too many times. I can't just trust you like that. Still, he said he was willing to give me a chance. There's a new project coming up. Our biggest competitor is the Liu family. If you can secure the deal, then I'll believe the nonsense in your head has finally dried up, and we can talk about you taking over the company. This was exactly what I wanted. From the very first month I arrived in this world, I had already planned to stay. So over these past years, on the surface, I played the role of Willow's simp, doing everything I could to elevate her from a small-time internet influencer to a top-tier star, even helping her return to the Liu family. But in reality, I was simply using her as a stepping stone to infiltrate the Liu family, taking the opportunity to learn the ins and outs of nearly all their key projects. And that fool Willow never noticed a thing. The most ridiculous part? She even let me take my entire team with me just to spite me. This time, I'd like to see who she can find to handle this mess. Chapter 7. Over the next few days, I was busy almost day and night. My dad had always been the kind to speak harshly but care deeply. Seeing that I was finally getting serious, he grinned from ear to ear every day. He even took me to a banquet hosted by one of our partners, introducing me to everyone with a proud smile. Everything was going great, if not for running into that idiot Willow Liu again. At the time, I was discussing the company's future plans with my dad when I suddenly heard someone mention my name. I looked up and saw, in a pavilion not far away, two figures leaning closely against each other. A female voice said, "Don't worry, George, that brainless simp will hand over the completed project proposal the moment I ask. He'll come running like a dog." Even in the dim light, I could feel my dad's face darken instantly. He stood up on the spot and walked straight toward Willow. "Come on, say that again to my face." Willow was startled at first, but when she saw that I had followed behind him, she rolled her eyes again. "So you heard it too, George? That's great. Saves me the trouble of reminding you again." My dad was so furious he looked like he might explode. He shot me a glare that clearly meant one thing: fight back. But I simply smiled faintly. It wasn't time to completely fall out with Willow yet. The less guarded she was around me, the more advantageous it would be for me. Still, over these past years, I had spoiled her too much. Seeing that I neither argued nor got angry, she assumed I was still the same obedient simp as before. Nestling in Makoto's arms, she even pointed at me and said, "Look at him, honey, he's basically an idiot." On the drive home, my dad kept pounding the steering wheel in anger. "How did I end up with such a spineless son? Don't tell me you still like her." I shook my head and said calmly, "Dad, have you ever heard this saying, if you want someone destroyed, you first have to let them go mad?" Chapter 8. Just as I expected, the Liu group couldn't find a capable team at all. For several days in a row, Willow Liu kept messaging me. She texted, "Where's the proposal? Is it done yet? Hurry up. I ignored her completely, letting her stew in anxiety. As the deadline drew closer, Willow grew more and more impatient. She sent another message. "George, are you doing this on purpose? Do you think this will force me to get back together with you? Dream on. This will only make me hate you even more." Only then did I casually reply, "Wait a moment." That moment turned into another 2 days. Willow finally lost her patience and sent me over a dozen voice messages in a row. Coincidentally, I was in a meeting with my team at the time. My laptop was projecting onto the screen, and I casually tapped to play the audio out loud. Willow's furious voice echoed throughout the entire conference room. "Send me the project proposal right now, or I'll make sure you never see me again." That arrogant, commanding tone instantly irritated everyone on the team. They urged me to reply, "Dude, tell her we'll definitely send her a proposal." So I did. Right before the deadline, the entire project team timed it perfectly and sent Willow a recipe for a Krabby Patty. There was no doubt the project went to me. The very day I signed the contract with the person in charge, I had just walked out when I received a call from Willow. Her voice practically crackled with rage as she shouted, "George, have you lost your mind? What the hell did you send me?" I held the phone a bit farther away, quietly listening to her meltdown. Only after her voice had grown hoarse did I finally respond lazily. "Maybe one of my subordinates sent the wrong file." "The wrong file?" Willow's voice dripped with sarcasm. "What are you pretending for? Do you think I haven't already seen through your little tricks?" For a moment, I thought she had actually realized something. But soon enough, she continued, "You're just trying to prove how capable you are with this stunt, aren't you? Then you'll beg me to change my mind and come back to you." She let out a cold snort. "Keep dreaming, George. I don't respond to force. The more underhanded you act, the more I'll despise you." I was speechless. I had clearly overestimated Willow. All I could say was, her brain was probably chewed on by zombies, and the half that's left doesn't work very well. Chapter 9. The one happiest about me securing this project was, without a doubt, my dad. Over the past few days, every time I saw him from afar, the first thing I noticed was always his wide, toothy grin. The old man was overjoyed. More than once, I caught him bowing repeatedly toward the office window, muttering, "Heaven has eyes. Wang might actually get to retire one day." But the moment I pushed the door open, he would immediately put on a serious face again, adopting the posture of a boss. "You did well this time. I can start delegating authority to you and let you try things out, but you'd better not be fooling me. Otherwise, I'll never trust you again." I nodded, playing along with his theatrics. Then I told him I wanted to hire a brand ambassador. His brows instantly furrowed so tightly they could crush a fly. I knew exactly what he was thinking. Hiring an ambassador meant spending a large sum of money, and if that person got involved in a scandal, the company would suffer the backlash too. For someone like him, who valued stability above all else, it was the worst possible option. Luckily, I had anticipated this. I laid out a long list of reasons why we absolutely needed one. When he was nearly convinced, I delivered the final blow. "Dad, do you want our company to stay stagnant forever, getting stepped on by others, like the Lu Group?" He froze for a moment, then shook his head. "Well, there you go." I pulled out my tablet and brought up the materials I had prepared long ago. "I've already picked the person. We'll sign her." Chapter 10. The signing was handled by the marketing department. Once they found out who I wanted to sign, all of them looked utterly miserable, because this female celebrity was just too obscure. Calling her an 18th-tier artist was already being generous. The marketing manager lingered outside my office 8 times in one afternoon. On the last attempt, he finally gathered the courage to knock and come in. "President Wang, maybe you should reconsider. With her current level of popularity, any endorsement fee we pay will basically be money thrown into the ocean." I smiled and shook my head. "I've said it already, I want her." The manager lowered his head, sighed, and walked out. Everyone thought I had lost my mind, but only I knew, within 2 months, this girl named Anna would explode in popularity. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say she would redefine beauty standards across the entire entertainment industry. Signing her now meant low cost and earning her lifelong gratitude. It was an unbeatable deal. Soon, Anna came to the company to shoot the advertisement. Right in front of her, I specifically had people hang a massive poster across the entire exterior wall of the building. She had never received treatment like this before. Tears shimmered in her eyes. I smiled and said, "Why are you crying? I have high hopes for you. Do you believe that one day, posters like this will be everywhere?" Anna threw herself into my arms, her tears instantly soaking my shoulder. Since she had no fame at the moment, over the following days, even though the giant poster remained displayed outside the company for everyone to see, it stirred no reaction, just as I had expected. What surprised me, however, was that Willow, Lu and Makoto somehow saw the poster and came to cause trouble again. Willow said that this person was Makoto's ex-girlfriend. She sneered. "You actually signed her. Can you stop using these low, disgusting tactics to provoke us?" She continued. "Sure, it gets my attention, but so what? I'll just find you more annoying every single time." I was speechless. Chapter 11. No matter how much I thought about it, I couldn't figure it out. In the original storyline, Makoto didn't even have an ex-girlfriend. While I was lost in thought, Willow Lu continued throwing out sarcastic remarks. Only then did I learn that Anna had actually acted in the same low-budget web drama as Makoto, and because of a single eye contact scene, Makoto's fans had once shipped the two of them as a couple. But Makoto was about as relevant as a fried egg stuck to the bottom of an iron pan. Barely anyone cared. As for those so-called ship rumors, they were about as widely known as the fact that Martin had been hospitalized twice again this year. You're asking who Martin is? He's my driver's son. After getting poisoned by toxic mushrooms and being discharged, he insisted it was because they weren't cooked properly, so he went back and cooked them again. Anyway, just because I signed her, the two of them are already spinning this much drama in their heads. That's honestly ridiculous. He and Willow are exactly the same, both acting like they're the center of the universe. I was already getting a headache when I heard Makoto again. He let out a sigh and said, "George, do you really dislike me that much? Do you have to go out of your way to make things hard for me? Life is dull and meaningless, animals out here lecturing humans. If the timing were right, I'd have the entire company roast him to oblivion." One line after another. During this period, because I had been working so intensely, my dad basically retired early. He lived a carefree life now, going out late, coming home early, drinking tea, and walking his bird. Ever since he stopped maintaining his strict father persona, he'd added a new daily activity. That was rushing over to take off my coat the moment I got home, grinning like he was starring in some toothpaste commercial. Well, if it isn't President Wang, please, have a seat, you've worked hard. Teasing me had practically become his daily routine. But one day, When I opened the door and habitually spread my arms, he suddenly slapped my hands away. "Look at this shameless thing," he snapped, shoving his phone in my face. I swear, I wish I had 8 arms like an octopus so I could slap her 8 times at once. I leaned back a little before my eyes could finally focus. On the screen were photos of Makoto. In the bottom left corner of each one was a short 3-line love poem. I frowned. "What is this?" My dad replied. "Makoto is now the spokesperson for the Lu Group, and he's even written all these nauseating lines. I'm about to throw up just looking at them." I raised an eyebrow in surprise. Seeing that I wasn't angry at all, my dad hesitated for a moment before asking, "You don't still like?" I immediately raised my hand to cut him off. "Stop right there. One more word and you're crossing the line." As far as I knew, in the original storyline, Willow herself had been the spokesperson for the Lu family. It seemed that because of my interference, the story had completely derailed from its original path, and was now racing wildly toward an unknown direction. Chapter 12. I had to admit, within this world, Willow, Lu and Makoto did seem to carry some degree of protagonist luck. As long as they were serious about something, their chances of success were always a little higher than everyone else's. This time, they worked with marketing accounts to edit the original proposal video, cutting out the beginning and end, keeping only the most romantic moments. Then they paired it with the recent 3-line love poems, hyping up their relationship everywhere. Overnight, the Ito-Lu pairing went viral across the internet. People were obsessed with shipping them, and the revenue of the Lu Group soared. At a moment like this, Willow naturally didn't forget to show off in front of me. She returned the Krabby Patty recipe I had sent and sneered. "Did you really think the Lu Group couldn't survive without that one project? George, your life is just ridiculous. Not only are you abandoned by the system, you're abandoned by me too." Makoto also pretended to advise me. "Man, I told you a long time ago there was no need to act out of pride, but you wouldn't listen. You insisted on signing on a C. Wasn't that endorsement fee just wasted?" he added. "You should have signed me back then. Maybe, for my girlfriend's sake, I would have even considered it." Willow let out a soft snort. "Darling, don't waste your breath on him. He's extremely self-important. He probably still thinks he's the smartest person in the world." It seemed like Makoto kissed her. Right after that came a series of indescribable wet sounds. "This is beyond ridiculous." Like ridiculous had a mother who opened the door for even more ridiculous. It's ridiculous to the extreme. Just how high is the bar for being a normal person? How is it that this man and woman simply can't step over it no matter what? And they even had to keep the call going so I could hear all of this. Don't tell me I'm part of their little play, too. Chapter 13. Over the next month, Willow and Makoto not only shot magazine spreads together but also appeared on a reality show. During a live stream, the host asked Willow if she had ever been in a relationship. She shook her head and looked shyly at Makoto. "No, I haven't." The right person came a little late, so I chose to wait patiently. The entire internet went wild shipping them. The popularity of the Ito-Lu pairing kept rising. During that time, a blogger posted accusations against Willow. "Cut the crap about never being in a relationship. I'm in the same circle as her and her ex-boyfriend. That guy practically worked himself to death for her. How does she have the nerve to play the pure love persona? Disgusting." The blogger even posted a few photos of me and Willow together, thoughtfully blurring my face. Willow had been spending heavily to push trending topics lately. Since the blogger mentioned her name, the post gained a lot of traffic and quickly climbed to the top of the trending charts. But although Makoto had never been a big star, he was surprisingly quick to learn public relations. He immediately released a lawyer's letter, claiming the blogger was spreading false rumors. He posted, "The man in the photo was once Willow's manager. He was later fired for stealing company secrets. We hope rumors stop with the wise." After that, he bought a large number of bot accounts to control the narrative. When the incident died down, he and Willow once again gained a wave of attention. My dad was so furious that he replaced his daily birdwalking with drinking tea, and then upgraded that to meditation. But I remained completely unbothered. After returning from meditation, he scolded me angrily. "You can tolerate this? Are you even my son? The heavenly ego Maximus?" I was speechless. "What's there to not tolerate?" I said. If anything, I wanted the hype to grow even bigger. I had already heard that Pablo Lu had tasted success from this situation and was planning to fully delegate authority to Willow. He had even agreed to let her use the marketing budget from the previous few quarters to develop a new product. And that new product was almost identical to the one I was about to launch, as long as she poured money into it. I had every confidence I could make her lose everything. Chapter 14. Just as I expected, with Makoto offering terrible ideas and Willow Lu's arrogance fueling the process, the Lu family's new project quickly entered the preparation phase, and the TV drama I had been waiting for so long finally aired. That day, I turned on the television early and called my dad over. "Stop meditating, come watch TV." My dad's face wrinkled up like a chrysanthemum. Things are about to blow up, and you're still sitting here relaxing. I waved a finger. This isn't relaxation, this is my hunting moment. Within just 1 week, Anna gained over 1 million new followers. With its fresh storyline and her outstanding acting, she broke through the crowd of rising actresses and shot to fame almost instantly. By the second week, thanks to my investment, 2 more web dramas starring her were released one after another. Her acting was nearly flawless, and her appearance was so refined it bordered on perfection. Everyone said she was born to be a star. For a time, the trending charts were practically dominated by her name, and with my additional push behind the scenes, she became even more popular than in the original storyline. Fans began digging into her past frantically, and both the company and I became the biggest winners. Everyone was stunned. My dad stopped meditating and started scrolling on his phone, cheering along with the younger employees at the company. "Son, you've got a great eye," he said. Even the marketing manager marveled. "For Anna to blow up like this, it's incredible. President Wang, maybe you should switch careers and become a talent scout." My dad added. "Don't call him Little President Wang from now on. He's your only President Wang." Then he turned to me again. "George, why don't you sign a few more like her? This is way too profitable." I shook my head. There won't be another. Anna was one of a kind in this world. In the original storyline, this perfect version of her had been created only to serve as a contrast to the female lead, Willow. In the future, Willow would not only become a top star in the entertainment industry but also inherit the Lu Group, achieving both fame and power as the ultimate main character. Meanwhile, even though Anna would win countless awards after becoming famous, she would constantly be compared to Willow as a foil to the main heroine. She would be criticized for competing with another woman whenever they wore similar outfits, and mocked for appealing to men just for wearing a short skirt while hosting a show. When public outrage reached its peak, accusing her of refusing to change, Willow would directly acquire her agency and completely blacklist her. But now, I had cut through the web of the storyline and set a butterfly free. Chapter 15. Over the past 2 weeks, the ones under the most pressure were undoubtedly Willow, Lu, and Makoto. All the attention across the internet was focused on Anna. No matter how desperately Willow and Makoto tried to interact and stir up hype, no one paid them any mind. As a result, their plan to use their couple popularity to boost their company's products completely fell apart. On the other hand, since I had signed Anna early on, in everyone's eyes, I was the one who had accompanied her from the bottom all the way to the top, the benefactor behind her rise. And since Anna only had one known endorsement, her fans enthusiastically rushed to support sales. At this perfect moment, I took advantage of the momentum and launched our company's new product. Once Willow couldn't recover her investment, her cash flow began to collapse. Soon, even other projects under the Lu Group were forced to halt. With the entire structure on the verge of collapse, she suddenly remembered me again, sending me countless messages every single day. She wrote, "George, know when to stop. If you wanted my attention, you've already achieved your goal. Why are you competing with me? Do you like me that much? Haven't I told you many times? I like men who treat me well and know how to give. The way you are now is just too disappointing. You're not even comparable to one of Makoto's toes." I was speechless, but no matter what she said, I simply didn't reply. Days passed like this. I was sitting in my office reviewing revenue reports when a sudden commotion came from outside. Frowning, I stood up and opened the door, only to unexpectedly see Willow being stopped by 2 security guards outside. The moment she saw me, she snapped hysterically. "George, how dare you have people block me?" I waved my hand, signaling the guards to leave. Now, only the 2 of us remained in the office. She stormed up to me and kicked the office chair, glaring at me with hatred. "You couldn't have me, so now you want to destroy me? What kind of psycho are you, turning love into hatred like this?" Even now, she was still this delusional. I must have acted far too well back then. "Willow," I said, letting out a long sigh, "have you ever considered another possibility? What if I never loved you at all?" She visibly froze for a moment, then quickly shot back. "Stop pretending. You were abandoned by the system because of me. How could you not love me?" I let out a soft laugh. Everything was already firmly under my control. I had no intention of continuing the act. "So you really thought," I said with a smile, "that I stayed in this world for you?" Chapter 16. For the first time, a flicker of panic appeared on her face. "What do you mean?" she asked. I spoke slowly. "Isn't it possible that from the very beginning, I already knew your so-called secret?" Step by step, I moved closer to Willow Lu. Just moments ago, she had been arrogant and domineering, but now, she retreated in fear, cold sweat forming on her forehead. My voice was gentle, yet carried a chilling edge as I smiled. "What are you afraid of? What's so scary about a simp?" Willow swallowed hard. Her legs gave out, and she collapsed to the ground like a heap of mud. Seizing the moment, I turned. grabbed the glass of water from the desk, and, just like she had done before, splashed it straight onto her face without hesitation. I said, "Have you ever looked in the mirror? What exactly do you think I'd see in you? Let me tell you the truth, I figured out a long time ago that you could hear the conversations between me and the system. Those cheesy, cringeworthy lines I said later. I said them on purpose, for you to hear." Her face turned deathly pale. Looking at her current, pitiful state, I felt the illusion around this so-called female lead completely shatter. Seeing that she couldn't even speak anymore, I pressed the bell and called for security. "Take her out," I said. "Oh, and before that, bring her to the front desk and have her pay for this chair." 2 tall security guards nodded and stepped forward, grabbing her from both sides. It was as if she had only just woken from a dream. Her eyes reddened as she shouted at me, "George, you're just saying all this to make me angry, right? Is it because me being with Makoto broke you? So now you're trying to get revenge in this way?" Still huffing. Sigh. I really gave too much face. Now even a cat thinks the advantage is on its side. I mimicked her earlier tone and burst into loud laughter. "Next time you ask something like that, try asking yourself first, are you even worthy?" Chapter 17. After sending Willow Lu away, I informed the front desk that no matter what, they were not to let her in again. They agreed immediately, but I forgot, if she couldn't get in, there was still Makoto. The next day, Makoto claimed to be my closest friend. While the receptionist was calling to confirm with me, he rushed straight into the elevator. Unlike Willow, who came to confront me, he started off by trying to be friendly. "Bro, are you upset because we said you stole company secrets? So now you're targeting us everywhere, but we didn't have a choice back then." I glanced at the faint red light blinking from somewhere in his shirt pocket and couldn't help but feel amused. Such a clumsy trick, and he still dared to show it off in front of me. But I don't mind teasing the dog a little, so I nodded. Makoto grew a bit anxious and asked again, "Really?" I nodded once more. "Say something. If it's true, say it." I couldn't help but laugh. He and Willow really were made for each other. "Makoto," I said lazily, "you don't seriously think recording some vague evidence and editing it a bit will let you turn the tables on me, do you?" Having been exposed, Makoto froze for a moment. Then he quickly put on a humble and deeply emotional expression. "Bro, why are you so determined to destroy Willow? I just think that as a man, being this petty isn't a good look. After all, you once loved her deeply." I let out a scoff and shook my head. "Sorry, but I never loved her. And honestly, why bring this up again? What does this have to do with being a man or a woman? Can you stop trying to guilt-trip me?" But Makoto ignored that and continued. "Stop pretending, bro. As a fellow man, I know exactly what you're thinking. You probably think this is the only way to make a woman unable to leave you. But you're wrong. Women are meant to be cherished. The more you spoil her, the more she'll love you. You have no idea what kind of life Willow is living right now." "I do know," I replied. I asked whether he meant that Willow had already sold half of her shares, or that several major shareholders of the Lu Group were now watching her like hawks, or perhaps that if things continued like this, she would eventually lose everything. Makoto stared at me, stunned. "Why, you knew all this, then why are you still? Why can I still stand by and do nothing?" I finished for him with a soft laugh. "Because I already told you, I don't love her at all." Chapter 18. When Makoto left, his expression was even more complicated than Willow Lu's, but I had no time to care about them. The company was thriving, and all the projects I had prepared earlier were now generating revenue. I didn't know whether Willow regretted anything, but the other shareholders of the Lu Group certainly did. They kept sending me messages, trying to reconcile. After some time, Willow finally seemed unable to hold on any longer. She started sending me voice messages frequently again, but this time, her tone had completely changed. "Gio, do you have time to have a meal with me? I haven't seen you in a long time. I'd like to talk. I don't think we had to end up like this. Last night, I dreamed about the 3 years we spent together again. Those unforgettable 3 years, how could there have been no feelings at all? Gio, come back with your project team, okay?" Without hesitation, I sent her the video the young reporter had given me long ago. I still remembered very clearly the arrogant expression she had in it. She stayed silent for a long time, perhaps embarrassed, but still forced herself to explain. No matter what she said, I didn't reply with a single word. Unfortunately, we were still in the same circle. No matter how much I wanted to avoid her, we were bound to run into each other at certain banquets. I could feel her eyes on me the entire time, but I didn't spare her a single glance, until she finally grabbed me like a neglected kitten, looking aggrieved. "Gio, can we talk?" I was about to refuse outright, but the moment I looked up, I saw Makoto approaching from a distance, his face full of suspicion, so the words on my tongue shifted. "Talk about what? Dating?" Willow's face lit up with surprise. "I knew it. I knew you still have feelings for me, Gio. I knew it, even if you stayed on purpose. Those 3 years you treated me well were real. I don't believe it was all fake." Watching Makoto getting closer, I deliberately asked, "So what do you want?" She said, "Gio, only you know how much effort I put in to get where I am today. Please, help me one more time, okay?" I raised my hand slightly, and Willow immediately handed me a cup of honey water with a docile expression. But at almost the exact same moment, Makoto's furious voice rang out clearly, "Willow, what are you doing?" Willow's hand trembled. She turned around and saw Makoto, his teeth clenched in rage. The next second, as if overwhelmed with anger, Makoto clutched his chest and collapsed backward. Willow hurriedly set down the cup and rushed to support him. Chapter 19. I watched with great interest as the two of them argued back and forth in front of me. Makoto wanted Willow to go back with him, while Willow insisted that he wait for her in the car. They patiently tried to persuade each other, until Willow pouted and said, "Do you not trust me anymore?" Only then did Makoto sigh helplessly and nod. "All right, I'll wait for you in the car." However, almost the moment he walked out the door, Willow let out a long breath of relief. She quickly walked toward me. Under my amused gaze, she adjusted her dress and said with a hint of guilt, "Sorry, Gio." "Makoto, it's fine." All her prepared explanations got stuck in her throat. She cautiously sat down beside me. Seeing that I didn't say anything, a trace of joy appeared on her face. She was probably praising her own charm in her heart right now. "Gio, actually, I still have feelings for you." Willow's voice turned soft and ambiguous. "Really?" I asked. As I spoke, I pulled her hand toward me. Willow didn't resist, letting me draw her into my arms. Just as I lifted her chin, about to go a step further, Makoto suddenly returned. Everything unfolded exactly as I had expected. Makoto's eyes were red as he stared at the scene, his whole body trembling. Of course, I had no intention of actually kissing her, and after acting this out twice, I was already bored. So, right in front of them, I stretched lazily, waved my hand, and said goodbye. Looks like someone's going to have a rough night when they get back. Chapter 20. My dad had practically watched the entire scene unfold. Once we were somewhere private, he immediately started lecturing me again. "Isn't this just messing around? Aren't you worried about what people will say?" I smiled. "With my current status, do you really think anyone dares to say anything about me?" My dad choked for a moment. He wanted to lecture me, but he also knew I was telling the truth. In the end, all he managed was, "You brat." That night, just before going to bed, I received another voice message from Willow, using that soft, coquettish tone I had once praised countless times. She said, "One person's lingering attachment can't bring two people back together. One heart's reluctance can't restore a broken bond between two hearts." I was done playing along with her act. I asked directly, "Did Makoto teach you that too?" There was a long silence on the other end. After a while, she finally replied, "My feelings for Makoto are different from my feelings for you. You wouldn't understand." I immediately took a screenshot and sent it to Makoto. That night, I figured they probably didn't sleep together, because Willow started sending me suggestive photos afterward. I didn't sit idle either. I forwarded every single one of them to Makoto. Only when I was too sleepy to keep my eyes open did I finally stop being their messenger. But when it came to certain things, Makoto and I clearly didn't think the same way. Even though Willow was the one trying to seduce me, he somehow thought I was the one harassing her. So the next morning, when I woke up, my name was trending. I only found out about it from Anna. Early in the morning, she sent me a screenshot. "George, look, our names are together." But not even 5 minutes later, she must have clicked into the topic and understood what had happened, because she quickly sent another message. "George, it's negative news, don't look." Chapter 21. Of course, I looked. It turned out that at 3:30 a.m., Makoto had given a radio interview. In the interview, he told the host that I, George, was the manager who had stolen company confidential documents. Not only had I stolen them, but instead of lying low, I had blatantly plagiarized, and the plagiarized product had even become a hit. In the recording, Makoto's voice sounded righteous as he said, "There's one more thing I didn't want to bring up, but George has been messaging my fiancé every day, talking about inappropriate things. The content is so explicit. It's just," the host asked, "So you're saying he's harassing your fiancé?" Makoto sighed. "It may not sound nice to put it that way, but that's the truth. Because this incident involved Anna as a brand ambassador, it quickly rode on her popularity and shot up to the top of the trending charts. A large number of gossip-hungry netizens flooded into the discussion, but what neither Makoto nor I expected was that no one was criticizing me. At this point, most of the internet was filled with Anna's fans, and I was known as the one who had supported her rise. Anna had mentioned me in many interviews, praising me as a kind and approachable person. People believed there had to be more to the story. Soon, someone dug up the fact that when Makoto first accused me of stealing confidential information in an earlier interview, Anna, still an unknown at the time, had spoken up in my defense. Back then, she had little influence and was heavily attacked for it, but it was those very attackers that made fans notice something suspicious. Most of those accounts had random usernames, blank profile pictures, and no posts at all, textbook bot accounts. The internet exploded. Netizens began commenting. So Makoto was already hiring bots to smear President Wang back then. What's his deal? This is hilarious. If you're going to spend money, at least don't make it so obvious. With President Wang's eye for talent, why would he need to steal secrets? Did everyone forget? He's President Wang, the heir of the Wang family. Why would he even need to work as someone else's manager? Chapter 22. Everything unfolded in a direction completely beyond Makoto's expectations. Someone dug up the official employee records published by the Lu Group, and my name wasn't on the list at all, which meant the so-called manager story was pure nonsense. Makoto couldn't resist jumping in to argue. Have you never worked before? Do companies have to publicly list every hire? If the Lu family's daughter hires a personal manager, does she need to announce it to the world? But the more he tried to justify himself, the more suspicious it looked. Originally, I hadn't planned to push him to the edge, but now I had already lit a candle for him in advance. Sure enough, netizens quickly fired back. Maybe for small companies, but not for the Lu Group. I have a relative who's a senior executive there, I asked them. President Wang was never a manager. He was Willow's ex-boyfriend. One stone stirred 1,000 waves. The blogger whose account had been taken down earlier also returned and commented, I told you guys before and you didn't believe me. George was Willow's first love. Back then he treated her incredibly well, gave her resources, connections, personally pushed her to the top. Who would have thought this scumbag woman would bite the hand that fed her? Others chimed in. That's right, I work at Lu Group. Lots of people in the company know about their relationship. Makoto tried to repeat his old tricks, buying bots, taking down accounts, but this time, Anna directly reposted the discussion and added, justice lives in people's hearts. I will always support George. At that point, public opinion spiraled completely out of control, and as the central figure of the whole situation, I didn't even need to show up. Everything rose like a storm, and then settled like dust. It felt as if I had been sitting in the eye of a hurricane, quietly watching the entire farce play out. Chapter 23. When Willow Lu realized she could no longer control the situation, she rushed over to find me again. But I had already instructed the front desk and security, no matter what she did, she wasn't getting in. She could only stay less than 100 meters away, sending me voice messages in desperation. Gio, please save me. They've tricked me out of all my shares. I have nothing left now. I didn't know Makoto would do something this stupid. Please, just let me go. Okay. The whole internet is attacking me right now. If this keeps going, I'll lose my mind. Gio, if you help me this one time, I'll break up with him. I'll marry you. Okay. Gio, please, just come out and see me. By the end, her voice was full of sobs, but I felt no sympathy. Even now, how could she still foolishly believe that marrying me would be some kind of favor to me? I sent her one final message. I never stayed here for you, and I never had any feelings for you. You said you spent those 3 years acting with me. Well, what a coincidence. I was acting with you the whole time too. After that, I blocked her completely. It seemed to push Willow over the edge. The woman who had always cared so much about her image suddenly started throwing a tantrum in the lobby. I heard her screaming, bring him out. He's not George at all. He's an outsider brought here by the system. Bring him out and let him confront me. No one paid her any attention. She kept shouting, you don't believe me, do you? I'm calling the police. But after the police understood the situation, they only gently suggested that she seek psychological help. Willow collapsed into complete despair. She slumped to the ground, then was dragged out by security like discarded trash, still muttering, he's really not George, he's an outsider abandoned by the system. Why does no one believe me? Chapter 24. I walked over to the window. Looking at her miserable state, all I felt was contempt. A so-called female lead who could have achieved success with just a little effort. Yet she insisted on taking shortcuts, relying on me, and chasing crooked paths instead of doing things properly. Ending up like this, she had no one to blame but herself. At that moment, my dad came in after hearing the commotion. He followed my gaze and glanced downstairs, letting out a low sound. She looks pretty miserable, he said. I asked, do you want to help her? He waved his hand dismissively. What are you talking about? She brought this on herself. I nodded. Then help me find a few documents. I've got a meeting to attend. My dad looked at me in surprise, as if he hadn't expected me to recover so quickly. But there was still a long road ahead. Who would stop walking just because they stumbled over a stone? Minor characters get trapped by love. Real protagonists learn to love themselves first.